Viewer discretion is advised. Since the Malia Davis case, I have been wrestling with the question as to why a parent would harm or allow their child to be harmed. This is nothing new. It has happened in the past, and it will continue to happen. Mainly because we don't understand. And I, myself, don't understand. But in my quest to understand, I came across the word filicide. Filicide is the deliberate act of a parent killing their own child. I found out that they have done studies on this, and they have different categories for filicide. Here in the United States, filicide occurs at least 500 times a year. In the United States, homicide is in the top 5 causes of deaths of children, and in the top 3 causes of deaths in children between 1 and 4 years old. A direct correlation has been identified between child abuse rates and child homicide rates. Research suggests that children who are murdered by their parents were physically abused prior to death. This is describing Brittany Bowens and Derion Vence, because Malia was abused before she was murdered. It says that parents like Brittany Bowens are responsible for 61% of child murders under the age of 5. This is what it says about step-parents. Filicide by step-parents. Parenting can be challenging, and it may be even more so if the child is not the parent's own. As mentioned before, in evolutionary terms, the reward for investing the energy in raising a biological child is the opportunity to advance one's own genetic information. In other words, he sees no investment in raising someone else's child. I really feel that Derion Vence was jealous of Craig Davis and took it out on the child. And Big Brittany allowed it to happen. It says that given that step-parents do not share any genes with their stepchildren, they may be less tolerant of them. This may explain why 2 studies found that step-parents kill children at a much higher rate than biological parents. When he supposedly was abducted and his child survived and Malia didn't, this was the reason. Because Malia wasn't his child. So I knew something was wrong about that picture when his child came up and Malia didn't. Now, if both of them would have came up missing, I probably would have believed his story. But if his 1-year-old child survived and not a 4-year-old, that doesn't look right. Here it says that stepfathers are more likely than genetic fathers to commit filicide by beating and bludgeoning, arguably revealing step-parental feelings of bitterness and resentment, not present to the same degree in genetic fathers. That's why he was beating Malia the way he was. It's not his child, he doesn't care, and he has a big stupid woman that didn't care herself and allowed this to happen in her home. It is not easy to just gaze upon a person and tell if they are evil or not. But if you want to see how a person treats another person, is just that. Watch how they treat other people. I watch how ladies treat their children. I see ladies all the time hollering and screaming at a 1 and 2-year-old. That is not a good look. And a person like that, more than likely, will harm their own child. Let's look at this word, filicide. It is stated that there were 5 main motives for filicide, including altruistic, fatal maltreatment, unwanted child, and spousal revenge. Now let's see which one Brittany and Derion suffers from, because I'm quite sure they suffer from something mentally. Altruistic killings occur because the parent believes that the world is too cruel for the child, or because the child is enduring suffering, whether this is actually occurring or not. So we're going to rule that one out, because she didn't care about the child suffering. She put it through a lot of suffrage. There is the fatal maltreatment killing. The goal is not always to kill the child, but death may occur. And the Mancusan syndrome, by proxy, is in that category. So again, we can rule fatal maltreatment killings out. You have unwanted child filicide. The parent kills the child who is regarded as a hindrance. This category also includes parents who benefit from death of the child in some way, whether it's inheriting insurance money, marrying a partner who does not want step children. I think that Brittany Bowens is probably suffering from unwanted child filicide, because Malia was always sick, had to have special helmets, had to always watch her. She was a hindrance to Brittany Bowens. When Brittany went to Massachusetts, she didn't take Malia with her because she was a hindrance. She could have taken that baby to see her grandfather. Even though he'd have been in the casket, she would have got a chance to see the other side of the family, her grandfather's side, but because she was a hindrance, she didn't take her. And wasn't she engaged to Derion? And Malia was in the way. There was a connection to Craig. So she had to get Malia out of the way so her and Derion could be together forever. Too bad it's going to be behind prison walls. You also have spouse revenge, filicide. The parent kills the child as a means of exacting revenge upon the spouse, perhaps secondary to infidelity or abandonment. Was Brittany Bowens upset because Craig Davis quit her? I mean, I can see why he would quit her. But was she trying to get revenge on him by harming his daughter? There's acute psychotic filicide. The parent responding to psychosis kills the child with no other rational motive. And this is what I think Derion Vence suffers from. Because if he killed the child, what motive did he have for killing a 4-year-old sick child? There is none he can give. Lastly, there is accidental filicide. The parent unintentionally kills the child as a result of abuse. But no matter how they put it, Malia's death was no accident. The child has a brain injury. How could you even lay a finger on the child? Brittany Bowens and Derion Vence have mental issues. If Brittany Bowens killed her child, she has a mental issue. If she allowed it to happen, she has a mental issue. If Derion Vence killed Malia, he has a mental issue. And if he participated in the cover-up and the disposal of Malia, he has a mental issue. There are some of you who are listening and watching me right now that have friends or relatives or just people they have seen abusing kids. But you stand back and do nothing. When there is something you can do, you can intervene. I guarantee you, the children, they will thank you. People are always looking to be saved or rescued from a bad situation, even if it's coming out of their own home. While I try to wrestle with the thought of what has happened to Malia Davis, and I try to rationalize why these people did this to the baby. And regardless if they suffer from filicide, I don't care what kind of side, these people need to suffer for what they did. And we can't try to look for some type of scientific term or some type of illness to get them off, to let them continue to live. They might have suffered from filicide, went and committed a homicide. Now the case is known. nationwide. Brittany Bowens hasn't been seen, and I'm starting to wonder why. Brittany Bowens, if you want to be forgiven, there is only one thing that you could do. That's get on your knees and beg forgiveness and start telling the whole